Good evening, everybody. It's Jason Wampler with another episode of the Wampler Engineering Minute. I'm your host, Jason Wampler. I think I said that I'm Jason Wampler. I want to clarify that I'm the host. Anyway, this is the beast. I did a retrofit today. The honest to goodness truth is, engineers and designers are always changing things up. Well, this is a little gritty. Well, a couple of things. I changed. I kept the rotor from the old motor section, but the problem I had, I just wanted to use the new motor because I had a second one of these. I just wanted to use the new motor. The problem is the damn thing had a left-hand thread on the snout. The damn thing had a left-hand thread on the snout, and I can't use that because nobody on this planet has left-handed coupler nuts, and nobody on this planet has left-handed snout adapters. I was so frustrated when I saw that. I went to go tighten the damn thing down. Hold on a second. So I go to unloosen the centrifugal compressor wheel off the old motor because it came out of a same thing this did. It came out of a state-of-the-art vacuum cleaner. And by the way, hit the like and subscribe button. And by the way, don't throw your old vacuum cleaners away. Another couple episodes, we're gonna continue rebuilding old vacuum cleaners and reselling them for $50 and $60 on the internet. People throw away perfectly good vacuum cleaners. They don't realize they just need to service the damn things. Here, let me take this arbor off. This is stainless. It's a button head. The problem is every single arbor that I put under load with any type of extension or length on it, it tends to bend the shaft, which makes me think there is a need for me to get some hands on a tool steel, a small lathe, and start just lathering and slathering and making up my own type of arbor. The reason why that other motor was like that, and the only thing I can figure, is because the motor was it was a right-hand turn motor, and it didn't want to loosen up the tightened down subject while it was running. This is a 30,000 RPM motor, but the rotor is off the old motor. I had to shave the rotor surfaces down. I had to go halfway slip fit on both front and rear bearing. I had to sink the coupler nut in. But the good news is, this motor I like because of the low profile brushes. They sink in farther. They don't stick out as far. That other motor, those brush assemblies, the brushes themselves are about 2 inches long, which is fine with me. They just conduct a lot of electricity and they don't wear out. They're continuous heavy duty motor. The problem is they stick out like Goofy's ears. I didn't want them that long. But when I get the old motor and I find out it's got the detachable front bearing support, these 4 screws, I was stoked. But like I said, I go get the nut off the compressor wheel, and it's a right-hand turn, or it's a left-hand turn. And I can't get a coupler nut with a left-hand turn. I would have to get a barrel nut, and I'd have to tap it out with a left-hand turn left-hand turn tap. And again, anything that's left-hand turn, you have to have left-hand machining, you have to reverse the lathe, you have to have left-hand tap and die set, because it's the opposite of everything else in this world that's good and gracious and wholesome and normal. That just bugged the living daylights out of me. And I'm sitting there in the parking lot at Crown Ace Hardware in Huntington Beach. I made a lot of friends, by the way, a lot of friendly people in Huntington Beach. You know, especially if you want to go there, you want to look intelligent, play some classic rock and roll, and people just roll on up into you and ask you what you're doing. You know, and it's amazing how many people you're going to discover. Men, old white males like myself, my particular age group that they're all former aerospace engineers. And I say former, and I'm scratching my head wondering why. So, but we're building tools. I want you to hit the like button. I want you to hit the subscribe button. You guys aren't doing that. That's okay. I'm going to start saying bad things about you to provoke a response, to get you guys to leave comments in the comments section. I am an uncensored type of person. I believe in free speech. I believe that you need to exercise your rights, your God-given rights to free speech as well, which means if you're a U.S. citizen, you have a constitutional right to the freedom of speech. You know what that means? Leave a comment in the comments section, gosh darn it, and no cussing, damn it. Anyway, I'm just kidding. But so I'm just taping this fuse in place. Now, a couple of things. When I went to go turn this on, it sounded a little bit rough. It turned on, it was off, and then it turned on, and it run for a second, then turn off. Turn on, run for a second, turn off. And I'm thinking, well, what the hell? Let's just see if the switch actually interrupts the cycle, the neutral circuit. And sure enough, it did. So that's my first leg of testing. I took it off, and I'm thinking to myself, well, the second leg of testing, I'll just use a regular 125 volt wall outlet inside the hardware store I was in front of in Huntington Beach, which shall remain nameless for copyright reasons. And sure enough, it lit up. I saw a brilliant pop, and it took out that 10 amp fuse like a hot knife through butter. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, that's the second leg of the test. Then I learned from that second step that the 10 amp fuse was too small for this particular motor. Now, I ran 10 amps off a 750 watt inverter that runs with a charging system, automotive charging system, inside my 2000 year or 1999 Toyota something or other Sienna, the V6 automatic, power windows, everything but the sunroof. I mean, you know, it's got a really powerful alternator that's charging up that 750 watt inverter, and that was just causing this guy to turn on and off. But it wasn't blowing the fuse. I plugged this into a wall socket inside the area, the hallway near the bathroom. I did it secretly. It popped the fuse instantly. Okay, so I learned something. 10 amp fuse is too small, so I went back. I'm going back to a 40 amp fuse. I'm not going to bother checking the 40 amp fuse against this my 750 watt inverter mounted inside the vehicle, depending on the vehicle's battery and charging system. But I already know how it did with a 10 amp fuse. The only difference is with a 40 amp fuse, if it lets more current through, will it run continuously? I don't know. So maybe that should be the third test. Maybe it will. There's just a few more things I want to do on this, and I want to show you what I want to do next. Folks, when I'm going to show you how to size down rotors, it's not recommended. It's a rough ride. You end up misaligning bearing surfaces. You can run a rotor sideways. You can actually ruin a field and demagnetize a stator, so be very careful. This guy is wound twice, so you know it's for AC motors. I mentioned that twice before. This is the third time. Okay, so we're putting this 40 amp fuse on here now, and I'm going to just go ahead and make sure it's square and straight and all that good stuff. Just make sure everything looks as best it possibly can. And I should be getting spanked for something like that, because this thing, I call it Frankenstein, and it most certainly is. Another thing you want to watch out for, though, when you're getting switches for your experimental cutting tools, or say we're gonna make what are we gonna do next? We're gonna, oh my goodness, we still have that $30,000 flexible Dremel tool with the container box. So we'll get on to that next. I'm thinking there was a third project we're going to start after this, because you just can't keep a good man down, and I can't think for the life of me what it is. If I took a look in that gray box, it would probably remind me. But I know that the third project we're going to have is going to be a 4.5. It's going to be a stick welder. It's going to be a 2 transformer stick welder. But I'm going to do things differently than everybody else does. I'm going to put things in an impact-proof, explosion-proof box when I'm building it, so it doesn't send shrapnel all over the place. If I wire something incorrectly, it just makes you wonder, folks. The bigger the inverter, the more power you get. The larger the magnifying glass, the more powerful the sun you get. You know, there's a lot of free energy around us all over the place, people. You don't need nukes. You don't need coal. Coal is, you know, natural gas, coal, and you know, dino juice, gasoline, petroleum distillate. I'm not entirely sure that those fuels are meant, not necessarily not for our protection, but not for our use either. We're not there to take advantage of the earth and rape it of its natural resources. Kind of like, but it is kind of like you know, showing over back that, you know, a bird will fly around entire circumference of the earth and hit its chest once. It hit its chest once on the tip of Mount Everest, and it'll do that until Mount Everest is completely wiped away from these chips. You know, just flying over the tip of Mount Everest and taking a little bit of dirt each time. Then they trek on and go make another flight around the world. You know, I'm thinking two fleas are fighting over the dog with the environmental wars, but I'm thinking, you know, we didn't help. You know, natural gas is there for a reason. You want to go natural gas is another non-renewable resource that the Americans don't have. It's great. It's wonderful. I don't know how the stuff ignites, but to be honest with you, I deal in rock and roll formulas. I deal with this. I already know enough about pyrotechnics and chemicals that more I don't want to know anymore. So because that could be really dangerous, and I don't feel it's necessary. But I know what I know for now. My father's more sensors and electronics, and I'm just bare nuts and bolts type of plumber. But I just wanted to share that with you. So anyway, so we got this bad boy here. You'll notice that there's no part of this hex nut that is exposed, and I'll tell you exactly why. The rotor for that other motor, the one that screams and has the mutable anyway, I'm describing a dream house. Okay, so we're gonna do this, and I'm spinning it clockwise right now. I don't feel any drag. Counterclockwise is when you want to discover something before the thing blows up after you've tried to test run it. I don't think it will. It's been a very faithful motor. Okay, so anyway, I'm getting tired and falling asleep. I'll start to say stupid things. I'm excited, however, because of one major upgrade I'm going to make tonight. I assembled this all today. I had to. Then let me continue with what I did. So I had to take this. I had to take the front bearing support off. I had to use the rotor from the other motor into this. The problem is the rotor from the other motor is very, very shallow compared to this. This is near this rotor is nearly half of an inch longer, and you know, I just had to kind of shuck press between the front and back. I would have run the thing with about I don't know, like 5 candy bar brushes. Wonder why it goes out, where, you know, everything's been moved away, so the brushes aren't touching anything. But anyway, and I rotated counterclockwise. I can hear a little bit of something might create a problem. But anyway, so that's that. You look lovely. You look lovely as always, people. I look wonderful. Everybody looks wonderful. What else would change? Okay, this is comical. I probably should have shown this. I had to take the rotor, and at a 45 degree angle, I had to rotus, and I had to rotary sand. I had to off-angle rotary sand the drum, because I didn't have the face chapel, or I didn't have the face sand, not the face chapel. So you have to improvise when you're machining parts. If you got good people around here, if you got good workers, if you got it's no big deal to just turn and ask somebody for a little help. Can you help me carry this table? It's kind of heavy. Oh, this is kind of, you know, so stuff like that. Okay, so I had to take the rotor out. I had to run it at a sideways angle over the belt sander, and I got it down to a fairly textured, you know. So anyway, so I got it down to where I wanted to. The problem is I go to fit the bearings, and so I had to deal with that. And of course, my boss is always hanging over, saying the budget goes any higher, we're gonna cut it. So let's go. Anyway, sorry, pausing for reflection right there. I was thinking about the back of my eyelids and what they look like. That just shows you how hard I work and how much fun I'm having. Okay, so we've got the 2,000 volt, 1.5 microfarad gate on this side. It just seems to me like it's not doing much, but it wasn't, it was doing lighter for. Yeah. Now I'm starting to say crazy things, and I'm not going to get views. Okay, so I shaved down, and I sanded down the inside diameter of the my goodness, what do you call those stupid things? The barrels. I sanded and shaved down the barrels, and now it's actually fine. Little, So, but I had to get personal too. I had to, anyway, I'm sorry. Okay, so now I like to put an RPM counter on this, but I don't have the facilities or the time. We've got the plug right here. We're going to plug it in, and I'm going to do that third running test with a 40 amp fuse and see what it does to this vehicle, which is hopefully nothing permanent. That was a joke, by the way. Not the nothing permanent part, but the contact. Here we go. Where is the multi-plug? Jason Wampler creation, the multi-plug. All right. Always come prepared. Now, here we go. Okay, so that's permanently, not permanently, that's tripped an overload feature inside the inverter. You have to shut it off to reset it, otherwise it won't be quiet. Oh, hey folks, I want to show you something. I got a toy today, a real neato burrito toy. I think this is it. I hope this is it. Yeah, I went to the northeasternmost part of the city of Orange today, and I got some free electronic stuff. And I was thinking it'd be no big deal. The lady has a nice little store in back. She's an entrepreneur, but I guess she's been staved off by the high cost of business-based leasing like everybody else has. So yeah, something set up in her house. But she gave me something. Hey guys, we're going to build tools together in the future for aerospace and automotive. In aerospace, sometimes in automotive, but definitely in aerospace, you're going to notice that you're coming up with such advanced ideas. There's just no way that you're going to have a tool that your local Snap-on or Matco or Milwaukee tool sales rep is going to come by and be able to sell you. They're going to have a dumbfounded look on your face when you, as an aircraft designer, explaining to them exactly what you need, something with tire tracks and a claw and a hydraulic jack that also cuts a pattern, stuff like that. There was an incident with the space shuttle where a blue jay and her was going to lay eggs, and she set up a nest right on top of the middle of the main tank, the main oxygen tank, liquid oxygen fuel tank for the space shuttle. I don't know what mission it was, but I remember the news report. A guy got up there, he removed the nest, he was gentle about it. The engineer who took care of the problem, he had to cut an even radius around the top of the fuel tank because that's orange foam that prevents what they call ice strike from the ice that falls off the surface of any pressurized tank that carries cryogenic fuel. It's a law of physics. It does that. Well, the guy invented a tool. He was an aerospace engineer. Now, this is what I'm talking about, folks. You get into aerospace, or you get into automotive, or you get into some type of specialty product. Necessity is the mother of invention. You're going to need a tool you're not going to have. You're going to have to invent one. As an engineer, it's a lot of fun to be able to take the time off that to have fun and make tools. You can talk your boss into wasting time doing that, but then you can explain to him you can't make the prototype without the tool, and you can spend a long time looking for it on the internet. That won't yield anything. Or you can just use the machine shop tools, bump up the electric bill by about 20 or 30 bucks that month, spend $20 on supplies, and about roughly 50 hours, such a full-time work week plus, and the boss will be really mad about that, but you'll have a tool that works. You invented the gosh darn tool. And I got to tell you, folks, that happens at almost all levels in every industry. So necessity is the mother of invention. We're here to make tools that serve the needs of the necessities that come up in the goings on and affairs of the design, invention, conception, invention, design, engineering, manufacturing, etc., etc. I want to talk about this place I went. I went to this horse ranch. Nice girl named Lisa. Shout out to Lisa. I got a few free items from her. I wanted to show you. I got a really unusual tripod from her, and the thing almost looks homemade. I don't know what in the world I'm going to be able to use this for, but I just had to have it. She was giving it away for free, so I took it. And I wanted to show you the other item I got from her. But when I saw it, I laughed out loud and I said, this has got to be something an engineer made up, because it sounds like somebody was an engineer who made this up. There is no job so simple. I hope you can read that. There is no job so simple that it cannot be done wrong. So I just had to have this. I need to hang this in the background where it can be seen. I'll get to that later. I got a mouse. I got a couple of unusual cables. I got a phone splitter and a phone line joiner. Those are rare. Phone splitters are one thing. Phone line joiners, you almost can't find those anywhere anymore. I don't really have the patience to break those out and show those to you, but I did want to show you this. This is called a Powerline Universal AC Adapter, 3 to 12 volts, DC, 300 milliamp, which is basically 3/10 of an amp. That's 3/10 of 1 amp. For something this size, that's about standard. But here's what you get. You get 3 volts, 4.5, 6 volts, 7.5, 9 volt, and on up to 12 volt. You got to be careful of the positioning because it doesn't line up correctly with the sticker. And then you can switch the polarity for these guys. You can invert it. You can the outer shell can be positive, the inner post can be negative, or you can switch it. The inner post is positive, the outer shell is negative. This is a really handy tool. These are interesting features right here. It's dark, it's hard to see these buttons. I've got to remember to shoot during the daylight. We're coming into winter months, so I've got to start shooting at around 4 in the afternoon, no matter what. And I'm not disciplined about that. But look at this. This comes with a cross plus adapter. I've got this adapter right here. I've got a micro adapter right here. And then look at this. I've got that adapter, that adapter, that adapter, and that adapter. All of this integrated with this AC adapter. So I can reverse the poles, and I can select 3 to 12 volt. Now I've got 6 different adapters to choose from. This is a really handy tool. This is not something that I can make. This requires fabrication equipment, tools, and techniques I just don't have the money for. I mean, if I had all the money in the world, we'd be building rockets that basically be putting payloads into outer space right now. I'm not Elon Musk. I'm not Jeff Bezos. Those two guys are incredible men. I nothing but good things to say about both of them. But I'm not them. I'm not Warren Buffett. I'm not the crazy rich multi-trillionaire. I'm just poor old Jason Wampler. Most of the time I have about $100 to my name, which reminds me, somebody tell me how to start a GoFundMe account so I can get some more money so we can build these tools a little bit more quickly. And maybe somebody needs to throw me over the knees and give me a good spanking, because I promised to myself and everybody else to start an episode of the Wampler Engineering Minute at no later than 5 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time in the state of California, and I don't do it. I'm not disciplined about that. But all of a sudden we're talking about this, and I'm enthusiastic. It's dark. We have no natural light. We have the light post light. I can see, but how can you see? So you're going to be listening to a disembodied voice? Well, that's not entertaining, but you know what? I keep telling myself tomorrow's a new day. Eventually I keep trying at it. I'll get it done. Guys, you need these kind of tools. You need this universal power adapter. 3 to 12 volts, 6 different adapters, reversible polarity. I imagine something like this probably could set you back about like 25, 30 bucks, maybe even more depending on what kind of mood the shop owner's in. But don't pass up on it. Okay, so I got that. I got the sign. I got the phone line joiners. Real nice girl. Her name is Lisa. I don't want to give her personal information out, but next time I talk to her, I'll ask her if she wants me to give her a little publicity on this channel. Again, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to leave a comment. People, I asked everybody to leave comments. Maybe I should give you guys incentives. You know, use the most vulgar, foul language you possibly can. Be stubborn, opinionated, pragmatic, dogmatic, empathetic, pathetic, and repetitive, and all those other words that Don King and Al King and Al Jolson and everybody else, and then of course Woody Harrelson and Woody Allen and everybody else would just run off their mouths because they're wordsmiths. They don't know what the hell they're saying, but they're saying it anyway. Okay, so let's get back to the beast here. So what I did, so the rotor inside here is from the old motor. I had to stand it at an angle using a tie down, a standing drum, and my hand drill. And I had the button for continuous running facing down on the table. But fortunately, I had a little hole in the bottom of the table with a little pick. I could push the hole in as I pull in the trigger on the drill, and voila, the drill's tied down with zip tie. And guess what? It's a makeshift sanding drum. I hope that guy gets caught by the police. I really don't like that type of noise pollution. I mean, take it to the tracks in Pomona, my goodness. And I'm trying to concentrate. I had the drill tied down with the zip tie, a couple holes through a plastic table, and I was just working away on that sander. I ended up sanding down the overall diameter by as much as 2 millimeters, and I probably spent about maybe 20 or 30 minutes on it, getting it just right from front to rear. I did gut the motor. I take some stuff out of it that I probably shouldn't have. It does kind of shuck back and forth. There are a couple of wavy washers that I don't think I put in. Wavy washers, I've got misgivings about them. So anyway, this is the old rotor. I shaved it down to make it fit. I had to center both rotors, and that was tough. One of my, I get a lot of flack when people expect to be able to know how to do everything all at once. It's real hardship because they don't know what I have to go through to design this stuff. So I put everything back together, and I discovered that the rotor is too short, so I have to go halvesies. Both the front and rear support bearings are halfway on their housing. Until I can figure that out, I'm not entirely sure it'd be a good idea for me to sell the tool as is, because all the tools I build, I show you how to build them, and we test them, we use them on a couple of jobs, and we sell them on eBay, we sell them on OfferUp, we sell them on Mercari, we sell them on Craigslist, and so but slightly used condition. But the point is, when I say slightly used condition, it means if I'm sorry, I'm having one of those another trail off moments. So I sanded down the rotor. I went halfsies on the bearing supports because the rotor's too short for the housing this is in. This has a longer housing, which presented me with another quandary. Too far back, and the brushes would have hit on the beginning of the bottom trailing edge of the armature itself, and it either would have taken out all those wires to where you could plug it into a 260 volt outlet and 50 amps let through, and the motor will probably turn about 5 miles an hour. So I mean, because you broke the continuity of one of the windings. It's just, I don't understand the laws of physics just yet. I don't understand completely why or how. I don't understand how or why electricity works the way it does. I know, though, there you go, I'm having another tired moment. See, the reason my brain is shutting down is because I don't understand AC electricity. I barely understand DC electricity. I'm pushing ahead with these crazy designs because I either need the money for the sale for this unit or I need a cutting tool on steroids. You understand? I need to have, but like I said, if I feel like it, I'll sell this. I have another cutting tool, but I'm having a devil of a time. I've got to get a 2-point barrel nut for that, just to put fittings on the front. It's ultra high speed. It's actually it's really high speed. It screams. It's probably around a 30,000 RPM tool, kind of like a dentist tool. It's got to have it. But I haven't finished it up yet. So I've got this tool and that tool. I've got the 2 transformers, and I might as well, go ahead and work on that stick welder as well. So we have 3 projects going on right now. So we've got that. So we got that and this. So technically speaking, until he has, this thing. I'm rambling on again. Okay, so we're gonna call it at that. I retrofit the wiring I had to because things were in locations that were different from when I could stay awake to figure them out. But the switch and the wiring and the capacitor, that kind of stayed the same. Oh, that's right. I've got an experience to tell you. I told you in the shorts. I don't understand why this happened, but I used the same switch a couple of days ago for this. What happened is that I put a 40 amp fuse on the Ames garlic, and then I went into the store and I turned the silly thing on, and it just, oh no, wait, I started my car, and it made a loud buzzing noise, and it just, the brushes were just lit up the sky like splendor, and I remember the light bouncing off the. Well, anyway, I'm over dramatizing. Basically, what happened is I turned the tool on inside my car, key on, engine off, for a 1500 watt pure sine wave 750 watt pure sine wave inverter that turns into 1500 watts if you need it. And what can I say? I saw a blue arc underneath the crack in the seam of the switch itself, and the tool was just screaming. It was so freaking loud, and it makes me wonder, why am I still here? So anyway, I remember seeing the blue arc underneath the press fittings of the switch itself, and I'm thinking, oh no, the amperage is high enough to where it's jumping the contacts and it's going to burn the switch out, because these switches are riveted together. You're not rebuildable. At 76 cents a unit, you don't want to. So the other guy, I'm not going to talk about that. So anyway, so I'm like, so I go to turn the tool off. To my horror, it won't turn off. Well, luckily I know where I know where things are. So I unplugged it. I cleaned myself up, my act up, and we went to friendly fire. And then I went to friendly fires with you. And then when I got back, now see I'm rambling on again. So I decided to myself, well, okay, so we get the other one. We're going to take this nice little running capacitor and switch range and set up. I'm just going to put it on the other motor. And that is this motor, the one I'm trying to do is spinning right now. I spent all afternoon retrofitting and building this. I ran into some issues I didn't think I'd run into, but you know what? That's life. Hold on a second, folks. I got to do a station identity check. It's not a station identity check I'm doing. Yeah, it's water and cookies. I'm a little hungry. I think I'm going to get a pizza from 7-Eleven after this. I can afford one of those. Oh, we're at 34 minutes. Cool. I still don't like the sound of my voice, but if I can bear it, so can you. When I'm trying to make this show entertaining, I'm a little more animated. Folks, how do I say this? this is not, I'm not even saying this right. This is not as mentally absorbent as building rockets are. There's something about designing, engineering, and building aircraft and rockets that it doesn't just occupy me. It possesses me. I'm not able to concentrate on showmanship, animated conversation, talking with people I'm hoping are going to hit the like and subscribe button, and talking about what I'm building, because this is a cutting tool. It's a motor, but it's not a rocket. Rockets are different. I'm in love with rockets. I like motors. Like the old saying, you're cute, but the girl I'm marrying is beautiful. By the way, there isn't a girl named Angie I've got my eye on, but I'll talk about that later. But with rockets, it's different. Rockets, I'm so absorbed in rockets that it pretty much takes over my life. There is nothing else in the environment, including a sense of acting skills, propriety, diplomacy, decorum, aplomb, nothing. And when I'm designing, engineering, and building a rocket, it's pretty much on par with a person's desire to make love just to their wife after having been away from them for 6 months. I don't know how else to say that. Building rockets is I could describe it as creative lust, but even that falls short. And it's not that it's shameful, but there is a lustful version of creativity. I don't think lust is a bad emotion. I just think that lust kind of blinds you to the concept of right and wrong, and decency and propriety. But if rocket building is wrong, I don't want to know what's right. My God, why in the hell are we talking about this? What the hell is wrong with me? But building tools and building electrical components and tools, it's not all consuming. 50% of my passion is going into building this tool, and I enjoy it. It's fun. I keep telling you, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. I need likes, I need subscriptions, I need people to leave comments, because I have to qualify. This channel has to qualify to be monetized, and in order to get that, I need views, I need likes, I need comments. So help me out. But this is fun, and it's practical, and it's marketable, and you can build tools. And of course, I'm always going to emphasize safety. I'm kind of a hypocrite about that, but I really don't like putting safety glasses on and taking the damn things back off and then going through another 15-second work cycle because I said, wear your safety glasses. And it's obvious that on camera, I'm working with a high-speed rotary tool, cutting a rocket fuselage. I'm not wearing safety glasses. That makes me a hypocrite. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be a liar or a hypocrite. I don't really care about my personal safety. I'm kind of one of those people that shouldn't say this. I'm kind of one of those people that's somewhat untouchable sometimes. Things happen around me, but things don't necessarily happen to me. So anyway, so that's that. This tool, let's continue with the description. What I like about this, I went halfway the bearings. The collar, the coupler nut is sunken in. It's wound for obviously for AC. We always mention that. This front bearing support housing is bolted in. It's not pinch fitting, inserted and pinched. That's not even soldering. The other motor was like that. This has 4 nuts that remove the cross piece for the front bearing support, which is amazingly wonderful. This has low profile, removable, fully replaceable brushes. The only misgiving I had with this motor, because I wanted the low profile brushes, and I can't retrofit them to the body of the other motor, which is what I wanted. I want these low profile brushes. I don't want brushes that stick up 1.5 inches past somebody's ability to grab the darn thing. Of course, in its application, you didn't see that, but in this tool, you do. It has both powered leads, on one side. The other motor had power leads on different sides. So I was able to, what I'm going to do is kind of shimmy the interior bearing surfaces with plastic bushings. Ace Hardware has that. I'll just work them out. I go ahead and wired it. It looks like this capacitor is already starting to come loose. So I glued it and double-sided taped it. After the incident with the blue fire where the switch actually melted down at 40 amps, the switch and the voltage jumped across the terminals in the switch, internally roasted the switch, so I had to buy another one. So I put a different switch on, and then I'm putting a 40 amp fuse on this, which is going to lead to the next problem, the same problem I had before, but no, wait, this is a slightly differently wound motor. The motor was the rotor is the smaller diameter. How do I know? We just talked about it. I had to take the rotor and I had to reduce the outer diameter of the rotor by sanding it down very, very carefully at the makeshift machine so that it would fit. So now this thing has a smaller field. It has a slower rotor, or it has a more diminutive rotor. It has the same lines going to it, but I'm running a good old-fashioned 40 amp, not the 25 on the other old one I took apart, and not the 10 amp one that just blew up a few minutes ago. I'm running 40 amps to this. Now my final test, remember, first test was in the vehicle with a 40 amp fuse, it ran fine. Second test in the vehicle with a 25 amp fuse, ran fine. Third test in the vehicle, this is the other motor housing, 25 amp, well, it's kind of sputtered to start, but you know, and this is where I get kind of burned up. I go with a 40 amp fuse, the same 40 amp fuse again, because I feel like it. I just want to get more poop, and I want to run the brushes in, so I plug it in again to this vehicle on the 40 amp, right in front of the Ace Hardware, right in front of the Ace Hardware, just dances right across the switch. I go to turn the switch off, to turn the tool off, and it won't. I had to unplug it. I mean, there's enough current coming through those two sides of the strings that it could have killed me, but it didn't. And so I'm like, okay, so I derated the fuse to 10 amps, which is all I got. And I went and bought and purchased another switch. So I put the 10 amp switch in, and I'm thinking, so okay, well I have to use the bathroom at this hardware station I'm going to. So I go there, or a hardware store I'm going to. I'm like, can I use the bathroom? Yeah, we'll open up for you. And we made a little light conversation about what this is. I kind of told them, you know, it's not really something that I can talk about. I think that happened. No, maybe it did not. It's just Hollywood. It's fictitious. Anyway, I had to use the bathroom. There was a plug in the wall in the bathroom. I turned this on, almost the same as you see it, sans the cutting wheel portion of the arbor, and it ran for a few seconds, and then it started burning up the floor, and no, I'm just kidding. I wish. So I tested it with the 10 amp fuse, and it just mega blew it out. Well, okay, so I went outside, I made some more modifications. I'm just giving you a timeline earlier today, and I'm thinking to myself, God dang it, I can't find a 25 amp fuse. And I'm thinking to myself, let's really get things done. Let me go ahead and put that 40 amp fuse back in the rebuild unit, because the capacitor, this, and the cord, and everything here is over from the old one, including, you know, well, no, not the switch. God, what am I talking about? but you know, the rotor's off the old motor, but this casing and the field and the fuse back, you know, everything's been changed around. So let's see how things go. You know, so the final test of the day: 40 amp fuse, production quality, appearance almost as you see it right now. I think I may have been to Mike Tyson earlier on. I'm just kidding. I didn't do that. I think I might have made some other changes. No, I did not. So we can, you know. So I think that's about it. I had to reset up the wire to go in here and set up the switch. The final test was when I put it all back together with the 40 amp fuse. Like I said, I went back into, I decided to go to a different store and use myself as a pack, or use this like opportunity to go to the bathroom, wash my hands, and start the silly thing up. And needless to say, it was in the hallway of the hardware store I'm in front of now, which shall remain nameless, because I'm going to commit copyright infringement, get kicked off of YouTube, and get arrested for misappropriation of utility resources. I plugged this thing in with the 40 amp fuse, and I'll be goddamn, this thing frickin' screamed. It didn't smoke, it didn't snap or pop, it didn't overheat. I know that because I picked it up after I turned it off, but it screamed like a mother frickin' banshee. It howled, and you know, I can't even estimate the RPM, but you know this thing was fast, possibly 25 to 30,000 RPM. This thing is just amazing. But it was a rattle trap. It was rough around the edges. So, and I still don't have a cutting wheel for it because, the collection, Travis. What am I saying? I need a cookie. I'm going nuts. No. The collection, Travis. What's the name? The call it. I dropped the silly thing. The carbon fiber wheel. The one that cuts metal very well. So I have to use this, but because it's not case hardened, it rounded off the teeth. So this won't even cut a newspaper. The next problem I have with this button bolt is supposed to be a grade 10. It doesn't have just one bend in it, it has two. And because of that, the extreme high RPM at which this motor operates, it vibrates so bad it actually makes you think you're holding onto a hot tool, and it'll actually cause your muscles to vibrate at a high enough frequency where it becomes painful, this tool. So it's screaming at 30,000 RPM with a 40 amp fuse, and it was a light show too. The brushes right here are very visible behind here, but also behind here. This is a vacuum cleaner motor. It's supposed to generate air pressure through the motor, back out and discharge out here. But it was a light show. That bright blue light. It was conducting 40 amps, 125 volts through that socket. And believe you me, when this thing conducts with that much energy, it puts out a flame. I was pleased, but it woke up the dead. That's the other thing. This motor is very, very, very loud. But electric motors are drivers. You want to keep that in mind. They're not engines. They don't generate their own power, and that's been tested several times. Perpetual motion engines, where a motor is running another motor, and these people never learn that just does not work. So anyway, this beast is going to get some improvements tonight. Now, before I wrap up the video, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do, but I'm thinking doing it in front of you is not how things work optimally. I'm still living from paycheck to paycheck, as the saying goes. I don't have a production crew. The problem is I don't have any money. I'm still working on those government grants. They're going to take forever. Another source of income is going to take forever. But here's the thing. I'd rather do what I said I was going to do, or I'd rather do what I'm supposed to do and tell you about it afterwards. I'm more freed up to be more animated and enthusiastic about it. If I'm telling you about it as I'm doing it, I go deadpan. I get more absorbed in the project than I do the diplomatic efforts of connecting with a potential viewing audience, which I need to hit the like and subscribe button and leave comments, please. I keep saying that, but so I'm going to drill holes that are equidistant, but I want to see where I want to place this. What I'm going to do with these guys and this guy right here is I'm going to make makeshift handles. And I'm going to put them equidistant. Oh boy, I can't do that. The places that I want to do it. So I'm gonna install these. I'll cut these short to fit in between here 2 of these, and of course cut this guy in half. You get 2 of those. As far as this is concerned, the cutting wheel is worn down to a nub, so it doesn't cut anymore. I see square shaved. The edges are shaved to a square on this. This cutting wheel is no good. The bolt is bent. I don't know how to avoid that. Leave a comment in the comment section and give me suggestions how I can avoid that. If I have to, I'll triple heat treat tool steel, and maybe I'll get somebody to make a grade 25 bolt. I don't know, but they always bend. This is stainless steel. This is either stainless or grade 10. Now grade 10.9 qualifies as a head bolt on a Buick V6 3600. Then this is only a grade 10, 0.9 tenths of a point below a head bolt for a Buick V6. So I don't know what to do. I'm a little frustrated at this point. I do feel the pangs of nature coming on. I've got to go ahead and take a bathroom break, but that's okay. As far as this episode of the Wampler Engineering Minute is concerned, I've pretty much said everything I need to say. I apologize if it's excessively dark. I am going to review this and upload this, and then I'm going to be here all night installing these guys as makeshift handles. Then I'm going to figure out what I can do for the arbor, and of course I'm going to see what I can do about resecuring the capacitor, because I got to tell you, it's about ready to fall loose. I know I'm going to get a suggestion from somebody stating that the capacitor for this particular motor does not need to be this big, and you know what, you're absolutely right, but I can't just go out and buy one. I'm short on cash. All right, you guys, thanks for watching. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment. This has been another episode of the Wampler Engineering Minute. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.